Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's pretty amazing when you run a webinar and people from all over the world register and I go, where are they from? And then I get nervous. And then I wonder if I've got anything very valuable to say. Wow. So thank you for being here. Right now, out there in the world, it's pretty tough, hey? Everyone nod your head. So, yep, it's tough. And for some of you, we've heard, you're raking it in. Your time has come, right? People finally know what you can do for them. And then for some of you, you're scraping it in. In fact, you've got like this. Well, how am I going to manage myself? Especially as you lead people right now. And then the rest of us are somewhere in between. Like, what the heck now? So how many of you in one of those places or in between, hey? Just notice. I thought I'd share an experience that I had 30 years ago. Is it 30? 90, yeah, somewhere like that. Anyway, a long time ago. And do you remember where you were the day the Gulf War started? Now, some of you probably were babies. For me, I can take you to the spot I was standing in my living room as I heard the news. And I knew I was in trouble. Huge trouble. The moment the Gulf War started, they did something that even when I asked my daughter-in-law the other day, how do you spell the Suez, because I couldn't even remember, Suez Canal. You all know what the Suez Canal is. Well, she didn't. She said, what's that? And I went, it's the canal between Asia and Africa. They closed it on the day the Gulf War started. They didn't open it for 2 years. It killed my business. I was a major importer of hydroponic hardware into Australia. I built the business from nothing to $9 million in 3 years. And I had no stock. Some of you have experienced that, not having a supply line now. So instead of it taking 4 weeks to get a container from Hamburg to Fremantle in Western Australia, it now took 16 to 20 weeks and I was undercapitalised. For some of you in business right now, you know what that means. I almost lost everything. I do recall one thing that I have never forgotten. I'd wake up in the morning and my pillow would be covered with my black hair. It was black in those days. Today it's salt and pepper. In those days it was pitch black. Right? But my pillow would be covered in my hair and I would pick it up like this and throw it in the bin. I didn't even notice that my hair was falling out until my husband said something. So what I do know is at that moment I had 75 mainly women who worked in the business and they did it part-time. Those women, the little bit of money that they earned for their part-time work with us made a huge difference to their families. All of them lost their jobs. And when I faced that again in the last few weeks, I had that same knotted, sinking feeling in my stomach. Here we go again. As leaders, we're not only dealing with our own distress and upset, we are also dealing with the distress and upset of our people. Being present and knowing that that's what's going on will see you through this. Pretending that it's not happening or putting icing on a mud pie or trying to polish your turd will make no difference for you. And it will only upset them more. So, stop putting icing on mud pies and turning lemons into lemonade. It won't work. Right now, you just got to be with how people are and get really present to it. That doesn't mean that you let go of holding the line of what's important in your business and in their lives and in your life. You hold the values because they will be paramount right now. My go-to book at the moment is The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz. I've reread the chapter on what happened when he had to close down LoudCloud, when he had to let go of 400 people about a dozen times in the last few weeks. And it's given me the courage to keep moving forward no matter what. And also to be with our clients, our prospects, the people in my life that will make a difference for. I've recommended that book over and over. If you haven't read it, go buy it now. You can get it on Kindle, you can get it on audio, so you don't even have to wait for delivery. So his chapter on the dot-com collapse is no different to what we're experiencing right now. Keeping your people together is the hardest thing. As I've read some of the messages that I've got from our clients in the last week or so, many of them have said to me, I don't know, I feel like I spend my life on the phone. So how many of you feel like you're spending your life on the phone right now? Put your hand up like, hello, help, right? Like, or, I'm staring, as Alison said, down this little hole. And if I'm not looking at the hole, how do I look at your faces? How do I maintain relationship here? All of that is going on at the same time as you're supposed to keep your business buoyant. So how many of you are struggling with that right now? Like, hello, help. Yeah. Put your hand up. Are you working from home? Who's working from home right now? Most of us. Yeah, it's hard because we're pack animals, us humans. We like being all cozied up together, right? Chatting and talking and finding out and being interested in each other. And right now, we may have social distancing. We do not require social isolation. Yeah? How do we do it? How do we maintain connection? So how I'm going to run this morning over the next 45, 50 minutes, we're going to send you to breakout rooms. And all of my associates and team, can you just wave your hands so everyone knows who you are? There you go. You're going to be gone off with these guys, right? And they'll lead a conversation with you. And we've put friendly people in amongst our strangers here so that they'll be really nice for us, right? All of that stuff. How do we do that? So we're going to send you to a breakout now. And the question that we would like you to answer, can you spotlight me? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, this is only my second webinar, so I think we're doing really well over here. Right? So I don't even know what Jay's doing over there. Right? So we want you to introduce yourself to your group. Tell them your name, your company, and your location, because some of you aren't even in Australia. Yeah. Now, here's the kicker, the thing I really want you to do. I want you to think of a line out of a movie or a book that speaks to you. It kind of gets you, that one. Now, mine is from Shawshank's Redemption. Doesn't matter if you all have the same one, doesn't matter. And Andy Dufresne says, get busy living or get busy dying. And that line's been resonating for me in the last few weeks. Are we going to get busy living or are we going to get busy dying? So go off to your rooms, enjoy, get to know one another. Okay, everybody. So, You know, when I ask people that question, what's a line in a movie or a book that speaks to you, it says a lot about them. And then some of our team, when I practiced this yesterday, said they're having nervous breakdowns because they don't even think about lines, and Jay only had something about gorgonzola cheese. Right? So we're all kind of human. He says a line. He said, I can only remember one from Pulp Fiction about gorgonzola cheese. I go, okay. What does that say? Anyway, we could make a lot. We're by the way, as people, we're meaning-making machines, right? So we kind of make up a lot of things. Given that our topic today is keeping people together and building engagement amidst chaos. Now, I think a lot of the chaos actually happens inside our two ears, hey? And getting a handle on yourself and then on your people is the big thing, because there's weird stuff going on inside our heads and made up stories that, the whole planet has got the zombie apocalypse going. Not true, right? Let's talk about connection though. So we have a whole lesson called the process of connection. And I thought I'd start with, what does the word actually mean? So the word connection actually comes from a Latin or Italian derivative of con, which means with. So connection is about being with. And how do you be with something? And there is a process that takes place for connection to actually happen. And if you do not follow that process, then your meetings can kind of look pear-shaped. How many of you have had a few pear-shaped meetings lately? Yeah, they look a bit ordinary. Like you go, what's going on here? And you're checking out a whole bunch of things that have got nothing to do with what's going on the screen over there. So, and you can have pear-shaped meetings even when you're not in this medium. You don't even need this medium to have a pear-shaped meeting. Hey? And I want to give you some of what I would call some secrets about what makes meetings work. Are you interested? If you learn these, it makes a huge difference, especially in this medium. So, there's a process that takes place when meetings are happening, and it happens whether you're conscious of it or not. You can be completely unconscious about it. It happens anyway. And when two or more people get together, it is happening. Now, given this medium, we're in uncharted territory about how to run it when we're not face-to-face with people, given we are pack animals. So I'm going to send you to another breakout room now, and I want to ask you this question. Have a discussion about this. What does connection do for meetings? What does it actually do? Why do you need it? Off you go. What does connection do for meetings? And I thought what I'd do here is I'd ask one or two of our moderators just to say, what did your group say? All right? Why do we need this thing? So Tama, what did your group say?
The major theme of our group was around that it enables real engagement and interaction, and also that it brings people together. There's a safe space, and people trust each other, which means that they'll participate and be able to contribute their worth, which are really interesting. And then another comment was that they, the more engaged they are, the more they actually want to listen. So
okay. Who else had that on their lists? Yeah, that's what people want. They want to actually be there. And then you kind of notice when you're lost. They're bored. They're whatever. So, Alison, what did your group say?
very similar. Trust was a theme, and that's what it enables. And we had a comment that you don't even have to say something sometimes. It's just being with, being there.
Yeah.
And being seen. And another comment that was a little bit different was a space where people can say whatever's going on up here. Just to speak it out is important, and connection allows for that too.
Okay. So, and the theme will remain that. Let's talk now, though, about the 7 steps to connection. And I'm going to run through these for you and allow you to actually just think about this. And then we're going to unpack it with what we've done so far this morning. Why we send you to breakout rooms. How do I get 40, 50 odd people to connect with each other in a medium like this? Because everyone would talk at once and we wouldn't get anything done. So the first thing that you do in order to connect people is you need to connect them to the present. And I'll tell you, I'm going to just go through these 7 steps and then we're going to unpack it. So the first one is connect them to the present. The second one is connect them to you and to themselves. You need both. Connect people to each other. You don't need to be all really marvelously complicated about this stuff, by the way. Then connect people to the work. Then do the work. What is the work here? What's the task of this meeting? Complete and separate. So those are the 7 steps. You want the bad news? Everyone nod, say yes. It's not linear. So we write it out linear. It isn't linear. And learning to work inside of this process is one of the hardest things to do, because most people go straight where? You got it, to the work, the task. What are we here for? And here's my list. And we've got members of our team that are absolutely chafing at the bit while we do our little warm-up bit, you know, those first 4 steps. And they go, well, can we just talk about what we're here for? Right? And when you learn that it's all in the warm-up, then you get some freedom. It's all in the warm-up. You warm people up, the work can get done sometimes in 5 minutes. Have you ever been in a meeting where people seem to be wandering all over the place? Slightly on topic, slightly off topic, and then you go, okay, we need to talk about this, and something that you thought was going to take 2 hours to solve, they solve it in 2 minutes. Ever had that experience? Well, I'm telling you, that's because you got the warm-up right. So, we have a saying, it's all in the warm-up, and then the add-on to that is the work is done in the warm-up. Get the warm-up, make it icy cold, and go straight to task, you're in trouble. And people want to tick their boxes. How many of you are list people? Like making lists? Yeah, you got your list, do my list, I did my list, therefore everyone is supposed to be happy now. Why aren't they freaking happy? Because you didn't let them warm up. Nah, you know, you're like the freaking sergeant major in the army. Do this, tick, do that, tick, do this, tick. And you go, right, did I tell you about me? Are you connected to me? That's done. So now I've given you another list. That'll make you really happy, hey? For the list makers. And then you go, well, it didn't work. What would she know? Well, guess what? Connection is being with the people. And as I look at all of your faces here, I can see you all nodding and grinning because you all are relating to what I'm saying. Your lists mean diddly squat when the people aren't with you. And I can see some of my clients just grinning at the moment when I've told them to throw their lists away. Hey, Richard, I don't care a shit about your list, right? I'm not interested in your list until I know who you are and who I am in here. And it doesn't need to take long. And if you do not use this, then you will lose people and they'll do other weird kind of things. So let's go to the warm-up. I'm going to spend most of my time in getting you to understand warm-up. Now, connect people to the present. The point of power is in the present. Let me give you a little story. Years ago, when I first started to learn this, it's nearly 40 years ago now, about process and about group dynamics and all of that, I started doing this training with a guy called Tony Simpson. And Tony was my trainer for many years on group dynamics. And this particular day, I had 3 little babies at that point, and I'm waiting for my husband to get home so that I can go to my class, so that I can be really clever at the end of the day. Well, he's late. And by the time he comes in, I've got like 10 minutes to get to this venue miles away. So I throw the baby, I take the baby off my breast and throw it to him and go, I'm gone, right? And while I'm driving there, you've never had this experience, you're annoyed. Ever been irritated and then pretended that that wasn't what was going on? I'm annoyed. So I arrive and I sit down in the class and I just make it on time. Ever had this experience? And as I sit down, the facilitator, Tony, who, I'm annoyed. So guess what I spewed at him? How present was I? I was still at home having a fight with my husband because he was late. That's what you're dealing with. People aren't present. And I said to him, in those days I never swore, but I do now. I've got a love affair with it. I said to him, who the heck cares? Who are you anyway? And don't tell me. And then he turned around and he said, so tell me what's going on, Jennifer, because I don't think it's got anything to do with what we're talking about here. How many of you know that that is what you're dealing with? Put your hand up. You're dealing with that. You're dealing with people aren't present. You better get them present. And he said, so would you like to do some work on your annoyance and not spew it on me? Right? Now that takes attention, right? And if you do not have that level of attention, and you're still, remember I said dealing with your own distress is one of the biggest things that you do here. If you are not at attention and got your own stuff going down, you're in trouble. So, Alison found this lovely little chart on Facebook, I think. I thought it was really funny, right? Have a look at this. Here's what's actually going on. How many of you have been checking out other people's background? I noticed Gerard, he put a pretend background, like he lives in some tropical island somewhere, right? And some of you I'm checking out, what's that mess that's behind that person? And someone's got a birthday going down, and no. How many of you have been doing that, right? Because that's where your attention is. How do we get your attention back here and in the present? So, in integrity and values, when we're running our programs, we do a particular thing that works. And we use an intention to get people's attention. So those of you who have been in our programs all know that the first flip chart that we put up is our intention for that workshop. And given that we build a long relationship with people over a long time, they're kind of looking for, so what are they going to do today? And then we tell them from what they told us in all their communications with us for the past month, what our intention is so that we get their attention. How many of you just learned something there? Yeah? You need an intention. So those of you who are in our programs, now you know why we do it. We give it to you so we get your attention. And I created with my team an intention for today. Do you want to know what it is? Nod, say yes. And I am working through making sure that that happens. I've given you a little bit so far. So our intention for this morning is that you understand and can use the process of connection no matter how clunkily. That's a new word, clunkily, right? It's a clunky. Do you think you can kind of do this? You know, we've got members of our team that have been with us 7 and 8 years, and it's taken them that long to understand how to use the process of connection. So step 2 is then you connect people to you. Who are you? And who are they? And what you're doing is you're dancing in the warm-up. You dance here, like a partner. You know, you're doing cha-cha, doing rumba, doing, quick step, whatever you like. Any of those things has you, and you dance until you know that they are ready. So, especially when you're with strangers, you're going to have to earn the right. Now, hopefully I did that in my first story. Let's unpack it. I told you my experience with the Gulf War. How many of you started looking at your personal experiences along the way inside of your life in business about disasters that have happened that you needed to manage? How many of you did that? Yeah? So that means I got you warmed up to yourself. So I got to get you present. I've got to get you warmed up to me, and I've got to get you warmed up to yourself. Simple, hey? Just tell them how you're experiencing whatever your intention is. How do I get you to understand how clunkily we can do the warm-up? And I'm going to let you into a few secrets about it in a minute, right? This will save your bacon every time because you think, it's all looking pear-shaped. Okay. Then you connect people to each other. What did we do? We sent you out to a breakout room. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, like what's a line in a movie? It says everything about people. How many of you got that that's what we did? How do we do that? Then, after you've done all of that, you need to connect people to the work. Now, the work that we have here today is to give you a clunky understanding of the process of connection and how to use it. How many of you, even who are our clients that have heard this before, have heard something new this morning about how this works? And some of you, we've gone through this 10 times with you. I've gone through it and I learned things. What does it take to stay with people? Stay with the process. I love one of my clients who's done the program more than once. He said to his team recently, just trust the process. It works. So it's not that we as Integrity and Values know a whole bunch of stuff. We just know that our process works and we have learned to dance inside of it. How do we warm you up? So when you connect people, what's the meaning? What's the purpose of this meaning? Well, to teach you the process of connection. That's our purpose. That's what we're doing. And why stay at attention here? Because you need to stay at attention. So here, those first 4 steps, connect to the present, connect to you and themselves, connect to each other, connect to the work. You spend most of your time there and you learn to dance. Do the foxtrot, do the quick step, do the cha-cha, I don't care. Do hip hop, right? Whichever takes your fancy, right? Do the dance. And right now in the medium that we're using, that is even more important. How many of you have got that? That this is superbly important because you keep going to task. You go to the work. So I'm going to send you to a breakout room now. And in this conversation, what we want you to do is to talk about what are the ideas that that you now have about warming people up. Off you go. Welcome back. So you're understanding more about warm-up. For those of you who have heard it the first time, yeah, it's a whole new place. For those of you who have heard it again, our intention there is to deepen your understanding. So let me give you something else about the warm-up. The deeper the warm-up, the faster the work. I'll repeat myself. The deeper the warm-up, the faster the work gets done. So those of you who are very task-focused with all your little boxes that you tick and you're going to be in trouble because you'll want to go to that and people are still wondering about the husband that they threw the baby at. Yeah? Remember my story? So, let me just tell you this. It's all in the warm-up, right? And because it's not linear and you're dancing in this place, I thought I'd tell you a funny story. Well, it's a made-up one, right? But I think it's funny and my team thought it was funny, so I'll tell you too. So, you know, once upon a time when we were allowed to go to bars, right? And maybe in the future we'll be able to go there again one day, right? And when we were single, right? And we went to a bar and there was this cute girl or guy over there and you went, oh, that's a nice one, right? I think I'll just chat to them. I'm the only one who's ever sort of thought, how do I get over there and have a little chat? So I wander over there and I go, hey, hello, I've got a room upstairs. You ready? Do you think you'd do something like that? Like really? Like it's not real, is it? Now some people may and they could get away with it. If there was some famous film star or something and, you know, they were doing an indecent proposal or whatever it was that they were doing. But no. That's not how we do it. It's in the warm-up. Oh, could I buy you a drink? Right? And where do you live? And we warm them up. And I do this and you do that. And And then one day, maybe if you get lucky, you get to go to the room upstairs. How's that? But you don't do that front end bit. Yeah? What happens? So, that's one form of warm-up. But let me give you another story, okay? I just had one of my team go, you got to tell them that story. So years ago when I first started in this work, this must be like 25 years ago, I had this fabulous team of blokes that I was working with. Really good blokes, loved them. And what I noticed that every time we'd get together, when one of them was talking, just this one particular guy, the rest of the team found the carpet really interesting. The carpet was fascinating. And I'd go, you know, scratch my head. I go, there must be something really amazing in these fibres down here. And I couldn't break across it because how do you interrupt it when people they break the warm-up, you don't know what's going on, you don't know how to talk about it, there's something going down. Ever had that? So this is what I did. Now, some of you wouldn't be as weird as I am, but it doesn't matter. I got down on my hands and knees and I started scratching in the carpet, going, what's going on in here? There must be something really fabulous. And they all started laughing. And they went, what are you doing, Jennifer? And I said, well, he speaks and you lot find the carpet fascinating. How many of you have been in meetings like that? Someone speaks and everyone is looking out the window, down at the carpet, somewhere else. You just lost your warm-up. Ever wondered why it was so hard? Yeah? Because you didn't clean up some of the messes that you have in your team. That's a whole, if you weren't at last fortnight's webinar, we did robust conversations. You haven't had the robust conversations, you haven't had the fights. And so you constantly lose warm-up. And that's what you're struggling with right now. You've got to clean up. Our team can have some real ding-dongs. Serious ding-dongs. It looks pretty ordinary and then people go, well, I don't want to work here. And then afterwards, right, we can move forward. don't have the ding-dongs, don't do the hard yards, don't warm people up, you're stuck. Ever been in a meeting where you're stuck? You can't get anywhere. Nothing's moving. That's because people are not warmed up and you haven't had the fights you need to have. So, watch. Are people leaning in or moving away? And in this medium, it's actually easier to see. You can see when people are leaning in or moving away, or they're looking down, or they're gone out the window, or whatever. You've got to have eyes in the back of your head. I remember that. So do you want to know the secret of how to recover a meeting when it's off the rails? Who wants that secret? Say yes. Okay, I like it when everyone says yes to me. So you want to know how to do it. When the meeting is off the rails, when the job isn't getting done, go back to the warm-up. How's that? Go back to the warm-up. And it's as simple as, hey, what's going on over there with you? Because they're not connected to this, they're not connected to the work. What's your opinion about the thing that we're doing right now? You've got to start again, dance around it, warm them up, bring them back. I have made the mistake of going to the work too quickly, and I have looked very ordinary. I've had clients say, hey, can you hurry up and teach us something? I said, I am. This is it. Right? Learn to warm people up, because the work is done in the warm-up. Go back to it. Every time your meeting stalls, go back to the warm-up. They've got an irritation with you. They've got something going down. And stay alert. You've got to have your eyes every which way as the leader. So, though, I could spend literally days teaching people about warm-up and the 7 steps to the process of connection. You get the warm-up right. You deepen it. The faster you get to do the deed, the job that you're supposed to be doing, the work. And sometimes you can spend, I can recall sometimes when we've run our Leadership in Action program, where we've spent 3 hours in the warm-up. And some of you who are clients know that. We spent 3-4 hours in the warm-up and we did the work in half an hour. And you go, how did they do that? That's our secret. Now I've taught you, do it. You don't need heaps of time. You actually need time to connect people more than you need to actually do the task. Our pull is to go to the task because that's where we feel safe. No, make it safe for people to say what needs to be said, and to do that, you need to stay in the warm-up. So you do the work. Remember, the work stalls, go back to the warm-up. Now, you get the job done. Then you need to go to the second last step, complete. And completion is we're done, bye-bye. That's not completion, okay? Completion is what are the agreements that are implied and implicit. Who's doing what and by when? Now for those box tickers, this you'll love. You still got to do it. It just, how long it takes you to get there is different. And then making sure that people agreed to the agreements. How many of you thought you had an agreement in a meeting and then when you were done, you didn't have an agreement at all? I didn't know that that's what I was supposed to do. And then people get really, really, really slippery, don't they? Oh, you didn't say so exactly, so I didn't do it. And you go, now where are you? I can see all the smiling faces like, yes, someone save me from that, right? So get specific at this point. Then you can separate and close it out. Otherwise, people don't know that you're done. We're finished. Have you ever had meetings that just sort of taper along and you go, oh, are we done here? Can I go? Right? Close it out. When we're running our Leadership in Action program or any of our programs, we literally say, I declare this session is complete. How many of you remember us saying that? I declare the session is complete. Then everybody knows, oh good, I can bugger off now. Had enough of them, got more important things to do. Does that make sense? How many of you are getting a lot out of this? Just that little thing. We're finished. Oh, okay, we're finished. Cool. Let me finish up for you. Hands up. How many of you have learnt something important today that you're going to take to a meeting today? Good. I want you to do this very clunkily. Remember what I said? Our intention is not that you are masterful at this. You talk to any of our associates, right? They're masterful at this because that's all we care about. You know, they have to practice with us. I go, okay, practice. What are you going to warm them up to? And I go, I don't know. I think I'm warmed up to lollipops. And they get really mad with me. And they go, what? And I go away. Do that again. What do you want to warm people up to? That's why an intention gives them what they put their attention on. So I've done it wrong many times and I still can. I have looked pretty ordinary in front of huge groups of people. Staying connected to yourself is the most important thing that you do. Because if you lose yourself, you just lost the group. Owning that you're losing yourself pulls it straight back in. You know, when you feel lost in a meeting, just say, hey, I'm all lost. I don't know what to do here. That allows everybody to acknowledge that that's where they are too. Simple, hey, little trick. And my team are used to me saying, I don't know what the heck's going on right now. And in that moment, it gives everyone that breath of relief. So, right now, amidst the chaos, keeping people together is your paramount job. So, drink lots of water because you're going to talk a lot. And wherever you can, use this medium so you can see their faces. We're living in a world that has got major disruption. Not acknowledging it, not being okay with, I don't know. Like that, my team keeps saying, what's going to happen next? So I don't know. Do you think I'm supposed to know? Right? I don't. That gives them some safety. And I promise you, I'm looking. So, there's a great line from another of my favourite movies, from Almost Famous. How many of you like that movie? Almost Famous. I love that movie, right? The only true currency in this bankrupt world is what we say to someone when we're being uncool. You want to warm people up to you, get uncool. Stop pretending you have it all together and they will come with you. Thank you.